because I feel like CNN is going through it. Y'all know this new CEO, Chris Licht. He's come in and he's trying to switch it up. I think he wants more conservative viewers. It's not going to happen. Fox News has a strong hold on that base, on that market share. And it's just interesting because we know Fox News is the #1 cable news network, even after they've been exposed for being liars over and over and over and over and over again. So Chris Licht, it ain't gonna happen, but I believe he's coming in. He wants the show, or the network, excuse me, to be perceived as less liberal, less progressive, less partisan, less political, less contentious towards Fox News. So he's getting rid of folks, he's adding in folks, he's switching up the programming, and as a result, the ratings are down. People are watching MSNBC, people are watching Fox News, but they're not watching CNN. And so now they're in shambles. Now they're scrambling to figure out, okay, what are we going to do to get the viewership up? And so I guess they have finally decided on Gayle King and Charles Barkley. CNN has announced that it will air a new weekly primetime show called King Charles, featuring Gayle King and Charles Barkley. The show will cover a range of topics, including politics, gun control, food, and pop culture, and will feature personalities at the center of this week's news. Barkley stated that he wants the show to be non-political. How is the show going to be non-political and you talking about politics and gun control, Charles? I'm a little bit confused at that situation, but he and King will both be straight shooters. The show is expected to air on Wednesdays beginning in the fall of 2023. First off, I love Gayle King, and we know that sister girl is going to get that money. Okay, we know that Gayle King does not walk out the house unless there's an M behind that number. Okay? And she's really good on CBS This Mornings, and so I'm excited to see her come over to CNN. I'll be watching. Charles Barkley, I don't know too much about. I know he was on ESPN. Is he still on ESPN? Okay, sports fans, y'all let me know, what is Charles Barkley doing besides this new show? But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Do I feel like this is going to solve the network's issues? No, because this show is only going to air on Wednesday. Excuse me. It's going to air once a week on Wednesdays. So I feel like this is not the end-all be-all answer to the network's issues, but it might be a great start. I just don't like the fact that they're just changing up everything so fast. Too many changes, too fast. When people watch the news, they want to see the same folks in the same time slots. They want to see the same thing on the same days. They don't want to see too many changes. They don't want to see too many switches. They don't want to be seeing unfamiliar faces. People like their news to be familiar. Okay? So I feel like CEO Chris Licht, you're doing a little bit too much. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and talk about Andy Cohen. Now, I could be reading too much into this, but I found it to be really interesting, and so I'm going to talk about it anyways. Now, Andy Cohen did an interview with TV Deets, and TV Deets asked, which recent reunion taping was your favorite to film? Now, you guys, that is a very good question, seeming as though we just got done talking about Love B. Scott, and before I really get deep into it, my apologies for misgendering Love B. Scott. I did not mean to misgender B. Scott on purpose, okay? I've always known B. Scott in my head to be a he, him, but B. Scott is a they, them, okay? So I do apologize. I do want to respond to one comment somebody said. Clearly, it's obvious that B. Scott is non-binary. Why would you misgender him? Okay, so number one, again, I did not misgender him on purpose. I thought they were a he, him. My bad. Secondly, I can't tell who's non-binary just by the way that they look, okay? So ignorance on the commenter's part, because wearing hair and makeup does not mean that the person is non-binary. I mean, I'm just saying, there are plenty of men who go by he, him, who wear hair and makeup and nails. And they bottom and they suck dick. All right. But y'all know he was on The Breakfast Club about a week or two ago with DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, and the rest of the girls, giving us the, exclusive tease on the Housewives. And Mr. Lovey Scott went on to say that he feels like, he wants to wage war on Bravo because they threatened to take away the exclusive of the Real Housewives of Atlanta trailer because he dropped a lot of exclusives, dealing with Married to Medicine and some of the other Black shows onto the network. But he also went on to basically say that he believes that Andy Cohen, the executive producer of all of the Housewives shows and the reunion host for all of the Housewives shows, he says that Mr. Andy Cohen should not be hosting the Black Housewives shows. And their reasoning was the fact that they feel like Andy Cohen doesn't have the cultural relevance, he doesn't have the finesse, he doesn't have this, that, and the third. And I was like, he does just fine. So, okay, back to this TVD's exclusive, right? Where they ask Andy Cohen, which recent reunion taping was your favorite to film? He goes, I really don't have a favorite. There are 10 Housewives shows on right now, believe it or not. And I am executive producer of all of them. And they all give me something different. But I will say that the Real Housewives of Potomac and Atlanta have two of the funniest casts. And I love to laugh. So it's fun when you're sitting there all day. They often take up to 12 hours to tape. So it's fun when you can chuckle throughout the day. So what that sound like? Okay, let me know if I'm reading in between the lines a little bit too much, but don't that kind of sound like a response to Love B. Scott? The fact that he pointed out there are 10 Housewives shows and he could have said any of the other 8. But he decided to mention Atlanta and Potomac, the two Black franchises, and said that he likes those two reunion shows. He likes taping those two because they have the funniest cast and he loves to laugh. So him being the executive producer, him knowing these girls, having a hand in casting, having a hand in producing, him hosting these reunions for over a decade at this point. He's been hosting these reunions for 15 years. He's not giving up that spot. Along with the fact that he's telling us that he's not going to not host Potomac in Atlanta because he likes those the most because they're funny. Sorry, B. Scott. Sorry. Not going to happen. Not happening. Andy Cohen is not giving up his spot. Andy Cohen is not off his throne just yet. Now, I do feel like they do need to have another talk show on Bravo. And they do need to have other faces hosting other things. Because I feel like at some point in time, I believe, in the not the near future, but sometime in the future, I believe there will be a time where the franchise will continue and Andy Cohen won't. Okay? Kind of like The View. Barbara Walters is gone, but The View continues, right? And so eventually, I do feel like they need to have some apprentices and some interns and some other talk show hosts to prep for when that day comes. But in my head, that was a message to B. Scott that I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. All right? Moving right along very quickly. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but Robyn Dixon, she's out here in Atlanta for the Black Effect Podcast Festival. And she wants to set the record straight on what she is calling the mistress. Well, she's not the mistress, but the staff member. So, y'all know how Juan was seen out at the laundromat with the girl who works with the Coppin State University basketball team, right? And then a couple of weeks later, they were seen getting their nails done. Well, she's calling the person who took those photos liars. She's calling the bloggers liars. Okay? So let me go ahead and show you guys this video. So I know the audio wasn't that good, but if you listen closely, she basically calls the blogs lies. She says that the blogs are lying. She says the person who took the photo is lying. That lady who he's been seen out, with is just a coworker or an ex-coworker, and that is not Juan's mistress. Well, Robyn, we're already 2 steps ahead of you because we knew that. I don't believe that the blogs were coming out definitively saying that this is Juan Dixon's mistress. We just pointed out the fact that Juan is hanging out with her and we're pointing out the fact that he's hanging out with her after he was accused of hanging out with a Karen lookalike. We're just pointing out the fact that he's hanging out with her after we found out that he was hanging out with the girl and paying for her hotel room. We knew that the coworker, we knew what her title was. We knew where she came from. We knew that she looked like you, that she acted like you, that she was a tomboy like you, that she was light-skinned like you, and that she was at the school. Probably lying like you. No. But, yeah, Robyn, we already knew that. So I don't think the blogs were coming out, this is Juan's mistress. No, the lady at the hotel is Juan's mistress. Okay, speak on that. Speak on that. And quiet as it's kept, nobody would care about what Juan Dixon was doing if it wasn't for Juan's history of cheating. Okay, you want to check us, but you never check him, ever. And nobody would care if you didn't go behind the paywall on Patreon and selling your life story for $2.99 when you should have been selling it to Bravo. I mean, you do get paid 6 figures to share your life story, do you not? I'm just saying. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the entire situation. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day.